Hey guys, how's it going? So it seems lately there's been a lot of interest in the SDS imports Tisas M1911A1, and I've already done 3 videos on this pistol, so if you're new to the channel or haven't seen those yet, I'm going to leave the links to those down in the description. But I figured I'd do another follow-up because I've had quite a few excellent comments on this pistol and also some questions, so I'm just going to kind of revisit it today and really like this pistol so far right off the bat, but I had a few questions and I'm going to go over a few things with it. So right here I have it in my original USGI World War II era Warren leather goods holster, and what this pistol basically is a model 1911 A1 USGI clone. Now, I think in one of my videos I called it a replica. Now, this isn't technically a replica because it's a real pistol, but I think that's still a suitable word for it because what they did is tried to simulate an original 1920s and further era 1911 A1, which these were used during World War II and just dozens of other conflicts after that, throughout the United States, of course, as well as many other countries. So basically this is a SDS Imports. They're the importer, and this is made by a company called Tisas in Turkey. So although it looks the part of a USGI, this is a foreign made gun, and I wish that it was a United States made gun, trust me. But at the same time, those are available and you can still get original USGI 1911s. Fortunately for the people that own them, and unfortunately for people that don't, those keep going up and up and up in price. Yes, CMP got some of them in the last couple of years, but they had so much demand for them, they had to raffle them off, and people that have them are tending to hold on to them, and the ones who are selling them are putting them on Gunbroker to the highest bidder. So, yes, there is the real deal available out there, but many of us, including me, just can't afford one right now. So that's where I think this pistol truly comes into play. Because when I bought mine just a few months ago, I spent $330 for it. Now since then I see the price has gone up about 10 bucks, available at, Classic and Atlantic Firearms for like around $340 right now. So still 340 bucks. So that falls into, in my opinion, a completely budget 1911. Whether it's a USGI clone or any other 1911, it's hard to find a 45 ACP 1911 for 340 bucks. So right off the bat, just remember what you're getting here. This is a budget 1911. However, in my opinion, and I've said this before, I still think this is a very accurate clone. Now, is it completely perfect? No. And I'll show you a couple of things that are a little bit different, but in general, I still think they did a really good job with this. And especially when you factor in what the price is, 340 bucks. So my initial unboxing, because when I do unboxings, guys, they're true unboxings. I've not gone through and taken it apart yet. I'm just showing you as I see it out of the box. I said I wasn't quite sure if it was a Series 70 or a Series 80. This is most definitely what people would consider a Series 70 pistol, meaning there is no safety in the top slide here. In other words, drop safety. So what does that do for you? Well, that makes it where you have a lot more crisp and generally lighter trigger pull because there's less mechanisms being acted upon when you pull the trigger. So this is definitely not a Series 80, which by many people's standards is a good thing, including me. I definitely prefer a Series 70 trigger pull over an 80, but that's just my opinion, and there's going to be plenty of Series 80s fans out there too, and there you go. So this is a Series 70, or some people say even a pre-Series 70, or just a USGI spec. So I'm just going to use the word Series 70 today because that appears to be one of the more common terminologies people use. They say, is it a Series 70 or is it a Series 80? So we're going to call this a Series 70 for sure because there is no drop safety in the slide. So for many of you, that's going to be good news. The other thing that makes this a little bit less than correct, but I'm actually happy with for myself, this has what they call an enlarged ejection port, meaning there's some additional material removed from the slide. And what this does is it allows, if your ejection's just a little bit erratic or not ejecting it quite perfectly, it gives it a little more room to prevent you from having a stovepipe or failure to eject. Now, some people are going to say, that's a bad thing. Browning designed the ejection port to be a certain size to let the spent casing out, but to not let any additional dirt in. And while that may be true for combat, I didn't buy this pistol for combat. I bought it for two reasons. To have fun at the range, first of all, because with this being a budget modern day pistol, I'm not worried about actually going out there and shooting the crap out of it, because it's not an irreplaceable collector's item and it's not a family heirloom. So first of all, I bought it to be a shooter. Second of all, could you take these pistols into war? Absolutely. I don't foresee myself going into war anytime soon, and even if I needed to, I would not take this pistol. I have other pistols that I would use, and that's just a personal choice. So for me, with this being primarily used at the range, I'm fine with having a little bit of an enlarged ejection port for more reliable ejection, even if it sacrifices the ability, to keep a little bit of extra debris out. I just don't see myself crawling around with this in the woods or in the swamp or whatnot. But if that's your concern, keep in mind this does have a somewhat enlarged ejection port. And the other reason I got this is, which I've discussed in previous videos, I really like military surplus. I have a lot of USGI stuff, a lot of original stuff, and I just don't have an original M1911A1 or pre-A1, US made, US used. I just don't have one, guys. I really want one someday, and hopefully I can. But until then, this is filling the role, and it looks close enough to a, quote, real one, even though this is a real gun. It looks close enough to a real USGI to suit that role, and I think it displays nicely and looks good in this original holster, along with original USGI firearms, such as my Eddystone US model of 1917. This is the real deal. 30-06 original USGI firearm. And yeah, I just love US stuff. So rifles like this pistol looks great next to it. Also, rifles like this is a Springfield Armory model of 1903. This is an older one from about 1918. This is a pre-A3. Also looks the part, doesn't it? So, for those reasons, I'm really, really happy with my SDS imports. Tisas M1911A1. And some people have said, well, maybe the metallurgy isn't quite as good in the slides as an original US model. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a metallurgist. I can say that I have been shooting this pistol. I've not noticed any deformation or anything weird going on with it at all. And I'm also being realistic in the fact that, once again, I only spent $340 for it. So, it looks close enough to the part of an original USGI. Like, when I say close, like 90-something% accurate. The finish is nice, looks the part, USGI type parkerizing. I actually upgraded these grips to original USGI just because they were cheap, and I talk about that in the previous video, and it just adds a little more correctness, if you will, to it. The row marks are decent. I mean, they're not going to be the same row marks as USGI, but they're nice and subtle. Don't have a problem with them. The slide serrations are nice. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of put this pistol into perspective, and also just let you guys know that I have been continuing to shoot it. I've run ammunition such as this Winchester, 230 grain, ball ammo, full metal jacket, service caliber type. Also some of the 230 grain Blazer brass. I've also been running some 45 ACP 230 grain Tula ammo. And here's another question I've been getting. Why Tula ammo? Why would you run that through your gun? You're going to damage your gun. It's not good for the gun. Well, it's fine. It's you guys' investment. You guys are spending the money on your firearms. But here's why I like to shoot steel case. Not only in this pistol, but in others. Steel case like this Tula ammo and Wolf and others is cheap. A lot of people don't have money to buy brass case ammo. And you can easily save 30% or more on steel case versus even a cheap brass case. So, if you can only shoot 50 rounds of this, but you can afford to shoot a box and a half of this, that's just more shooting, more fun, more practice, more having a good time. Now, will it damage your gun? I'm not an expert. You guys can decide. But I will say this. I've been shooting Tula ammo for years. If you combine all the pistols I've shot, all the rifles I've shot with steel case, Tula, Wolf, Monarch, etc., tens of thousands of rounds. I personally have never had, nor have I personally seen, it ever blow up somebody's gun. I've never seen the ammo do anything dangerous like that. Your results may vary, but I've never had a problem with steel-cased ammo. And I'm literally talking tens of thousands of rounds between my pistols and rifles over the years. Other people have said, hey, even if it doesn't blow up your gun, it's bad for your gun because it's steel-cased and the powder's dirty. I would note that in the United States military, times like World War II, where there were metal shortages, copper shortages, brass shortages, well-documented shortages, right? They were issuing steel-cased ammo for a time in the United States military for these. So while much of the USGI ammo was brass-cased, steel case was actually used in United States service in theater. So you guys could take that for what it's worth. Was the gun designed to shoot steel case? Maybe not designed, but certainly the Ordnance Department had no problem procuring and producing steel-cased ammo for these for a time in actual war use. So I don't have a problem with steel case, and many of you guys always ask about it, so I always like to include it in my reviews just so you can see if the pistol will run it, or at least if my example will, and you're just trying to save money at the range. Is it a little dirtier? Maybe. I've had some brass case ammo that's just as dirty, but that's what cleaning's for, and I don't have a problem cleaning my pistol if it gets too dirty. And I found usually, even with steel case, it's unnecessary to clean these pistols as often as some people do. So your results may vary, but this particular pistol has had no problem shooting Tula ammo, and I'm going to continue to do it because the money I'm saving on ammo alone, if you actually take your pistol out and shoot it, and you consider that you spent $340 for it, you could easily save the $330, $340 you spent on the pistol in ammo savings within like a year's time, and just buy yourself a second pistol if you're actually shooting quite a bit. And if you're barely ever shooting, I still think the argument holds true because you're barely putting any of this bad ammo, if you want to call it that, through your gun, so it's probably not going to do anything to it. I'm using bad in air quotes because that's what a lot of people say. Although in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with this ammo, and I've used it in many, many, many pistols. So now, steel case isn't for every pistol there is. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but with many pistols and many rifles, hey, it's just been good to go, and I've saved a lot of money over the years and been able to do more shooting and purchase more firearms just due to the amount of money that I've saved. Now, one more thing, and I'm not trying to start a controversy, guys. You guys can do what you want. I'm never going to claim to be an expert on anything on this channel. I just like to hang out with you guys and just give you my advice and tell you what I think. People have said, well, the 1911 was never supposed to have the slide released or closed on an empty chamber. If you don't want to do that with your pistol, that's fine. And I'm a big proponent of snap caps. Go back to my previous videos. I did a snap caps video just like 2 weeks ago. Huge fan of snap caps. But, in my opinion, it does not hurt the 1911 pistol to open the chamber like this, show clear, hit the slide release, and let it close on an empty chamber. And here's why. When the U.S. military, the Ordnance Department, went to Browning to look at this design, they had some pre-qualifiers. They had some things that they needed the pistol to do. And one of those that was specifically stated was that it needed to be able to, for inspection purposes, be closed on an empty slide. Now, I was never in the service, but I've studied different videos, articles online, and talked to prior servicemen, and I'm going to get this wrong, but the gist of it's still correct. When you're getting your pistol inspected for inspection, it goes something like this. You are to empty the magazine. You are to show clear on your pistol. You're to present to the inspecting officer or NCO. You're to present your pistol in a certain manner so that they can see clear. And then you are given a command, an order at a certain point during the inspection process, and that is to close your slide. on an empty chamber, okay? And from what I've been told, these pistols were usually carried with an empty chamber. So, this is in the manual of arms in this pistol. Per required inspections from the branches of the armed services, Army, etc., Marines, when these were in use. So, you guys can do what you want. I'm not going to tell you to drop it on an empty chamber, but I'm telling you why I'm comfortable dropping the slide on an empty chamber, because this pistol was designed to do it. It was required by the military's manual of arms during the frequent and often inspections. And look, this isn't for me to try to prove anybody wrong, because I've had people say you can't close this on an empty chamber, okay? But look, this is my $340 that I spent. I feel totally fine doing it, okay? I actually only spent $330, but they're about $340 now. I have no problem. If this was specified that this pistol was to be inspected and closed on an empty chamber by the U.S. Ordnance Department, and it's in the manual of arms for the military, and this is a military design pistol, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm going to include a link down in the description of another YouTuber who knows a lot more than this about me, about this than I do, rather. He knows a lot about these, and I'm going to leave a link right down there to Gun Blue's video, and you can just watch his video and see what he says and decide for yourself. So I'm not going to tell you that you should close it on an empty chamber. I'm not going to tell you that you should not. That's totally up to you. I have no problem with it, though, whatsoever. And certainly if you were in the service and your NCO or an officer came up to you, procedure, walking down the line, inspecting your pistol, and you were given the order to release your slide on an empty chamber, that's what you would do. So for people that say you can't do it, they would never do it. If you have an original USGI, I would bet you the cost of your pistol that your original 1911 has had the slide closed on an empty chamber. Probably not once or twice, probably hundreds of times or more. Thousands of times in some cases, because it's just in the manual of arms for their inspections. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know. But I've done quite a bit of research, and that's what I've attained, is this is in the military protocol for arms inspection. So, in conclusion, I think these are great pistols. I think what you should do with these is probably display them with your milsurp collection if you love the looks of them, and you just can't afford an original USGI. I also think that if you enjoy shooting, go out and shoot the darn thing. It's only a little over $300, which is awesome. There's like this liberated feeling where you can just shoot a pistol like this and, carefree, because you just didn't spend that much. Now, $340 is still quite a bit of money. I'm not saying you shouldn't take care of your pistol, but I wouldn't worry about it so much, guys. If you want to shoot some steel case to save some money, I'm fine with it in my pistol, and I worked hard for the $330 for this. I also shoot brass through it too, which I don't have a problem with. So just have fun with these pistols. In conclusion, would I recommend one? Absolutely. Absolutely. A little over $300 for something that looks this cool, that is very close to being a correct copy or clone or replica, or whatever you want to call it, and just how fun it is to go out and shoot, America's pistol. Yes, this one was made in Turkey, but you're still shooting the 1911. You're getting the experience of it. This still has the same feel, fit, finish, etc. It's still, it's still a 1911, whether it was made in America or not. And just go out and have some fun with it, because the 45 ACP with this heavy steel framed pistol with a 5-inch barrel, the recoil is not bad. The impulse is very smooth, and it's just a lot of fun. So heck yeah, I recommend these. I'm completely and utterly enjoying it. Enjoy yours. If you're worried about it breaking, I guess don't shoot it, but I've been shooting mine, and I've had no problems with it whatsoever. And by the way, I have no live audience here, guys. When I give you perspective of what the barrel end looks like, I hope no one really thinks that I'm aiming it at you, because there's nobody here, and I know what's beyond my computer screen and camera, and there's nobody around. So I thought I'd throw that in there too, because as I try to show you guys the different perspectives of the pistols, sometimes people ask me why I'm pointing it at them, and of course I'm not, and maybe you guys are just joking, haha, I get it. But for those of you that are serious, I don't even know what to tell you. Alright guys, loving my Tisas SDS Imports pistol. It's a shooter. It looks great. Accessories, original accessories are available for these if you want to dress them up and have even more fun. And I'm definitely having a blast with this, and I'll take it out on the range and film me shooting it again very soon. Alright, thanks for watching and have a good one.